Okay, so today we have a Heald model 273A universal ID grinder. This is basically a dedicated ID grinder, but there is exceptions where people will do external grinding. So right now this is currently wired for 440, 480 volts, 3-phase. And if you see here, we have this indexing stop. You can set this at 5 different positions, 4 different positions, and it goes up against this solid stop here if you want to have individual steps to grind. So this is a nice thing to have. You also have here the swing down, fold down dresser. When you set everything up, you can dress your wheel here manually, go touch the diamond and go across, and then this folds out of your way. WORKHEAD is mounted on a slide. This slide is basically used to position different diameters within the bore, or maybe external diameters that you might be OD grinding. And to keep track of that, way over here on the side, there's a mechanism that works with the dial indicator and 3 different stops against a fixed stop on this carriage, so you can repeat precisely those different positions. You have the fold down cover for your WORKHEAD, and this particular one has a magnetic chuck mounted on it. Here we have the spindle, the electric controls, the Infeed, and the machine or hydraulic controls. So right now, I disengage my hand wheel. We can go back and forth. This is your Infeed dial. Let's pretend we had this all set up. I would just select what type of amount of Infeed I'd want. It could be turned down much lower. And there's a point where it reaches where it's going to do a fine feed, down to 0. Once it reaches 0, it's just going to stay there until you physically remove the spindle from the workpiece by backing off the hand wheel and then moving out the slide. Now this slide is a hydrostatic slide. This slide is moving now on a film of oil, unique to this machine. It's floating, we call it the float. It's frictionless. That's one of the main benefits of it. It really doesn't wear out. There's no jumping or chattering. This cross slide is the same way. You want to disengage this, and then this slide here is what you do your Infeed with. This is also a hydrostatic way system on that. These things, when they're level, you can move it pretty much by hand. Sometimes you can move it even with just a couple of fingers. So this one is pretty nice. You have your stops here, special stops. Your Infeed. You could select with this knob up here, if you don't want to feed in, and when you go out each time, you could turn this all the way down, and it'll only feed when it comes out, not inside and outside. Then you also have this little thing here where you can just ratchet this in manually by hand. There's a portion here that you use to set the point where you want your fine feed to start, usually a few tenths or so before 0. And in the center here is a adjustment for your fine feed and a size adjustment. So that's pretty much it. I believe there's a coolant system around here for it. It's got a nice light WORKHEAD. You can go either forwards or backwards. There's a switch on the side here that you can change the rotation. And the grinding spindle, save that for last. 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 The grinding spindle, save And that's it. That's the Heald 273A Universal ID grinder. Thank you.